Hey, how you doing? Back here today on the Kawasaki 750 SS, and we're going to be reinstalling the starter bendix. You can see on the end there I got a little bit of grease. I didn't forget the little starter bushing there, and I got a little grease on the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to reach in there. Guess I'm going to have to switch hands. Reach in there, and I know, get my broken mirror out of there. I know just about where she goes, so I'm going to be sticking it right back in there, just like so. You notice how I put it in there, right? The big drive gear. The starter's going to be turning that with a smaller motor, and then when it's going to come out, it's going to go right into that flywheel. Flywheel's over here. We got the flywheel all cleaned up. We got a little bit of grease on the inside of it. Okay, we're going to bring that down there. We're going to stick that right on the end. We're going to look for where the pin goes. Go right into there. I got my bolt here. I cleaned up the threads on that as much as I could. I didn't have a tap that I could run in there, which is what I usually like to do. And I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite. This bolt here gets, you'll put it right there, because I'm doing all this in one hand. You got to understand that. And, whoa, a little bit too much. Came out like a motherfucker. This is what I like to use. I like to use this Scotch weld stuff. This is the blue. And I use the red on the bikes all the time. That stuff works really nice. Now this ought to hold nicely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in there and get that to thread in there. Now remember, that was the 14 millimeter. Okay, I'm going to do a couple things. Put that in there. Now I'm going to have to torque that down to 72 pounds. Okay, now that the flywheel is installed, oh, I didn't show you this. You got to put some rope down your cylinder, and while it's down, and then you got to turn it till it comes up toward top dead center, and that'll compress the rope, and then it won't turn, and you'll be able to torque your bolt down there to 75. Okay. Now my next thing to do is I got to and look at this. This is my cover. Here's my O-ring. You got to take care of that. But inside there, you look at my stator. Now I'm gonna have to do some looking at that and see what I can clean up and what I can't, and I gotta see if it's burnt or if that's corrosion. Looks like it's just a little corrosion. I might be able to clean that up with some dielectric cleaner because it works good, or it's been working good. But I want to clean it up before I put it back. So before I put that back, I'm going to clean it up and go from there. See, and there's the block off plate for the oil pump drive, which I have deleted. While I'm at it, I might take those spacers off and see what I can do with the bolts. Pull the studs out. Maybe I can get regular bolts in there and make it look a little nicer. Again, okay, well, that's it for right now. Yeah, that shows everything back together. Okay, I had cleaned off my stator with electric cleaner. I put all those 10 millimeter bolts back in, torqued them down to 32 pounds, or 32 inch pounds. And the hardest thing was getting the gasket to stick, or the O-ring to stick back in the channel. And I just put a little gasket maker on there and glued that back together. You can see a little squeeze out right on top there, just a little tiny bit though. And the only thing you got to remember is on that starter bendix, there's a washer on the end of it, on this end of it, that goes into this cover. So you put that washer on there, and also in that same little spot, there's a little spring that pushes the bendix back when it's like a spring assist to get it to recoil back to where it was, so it wasn't getting involved with the flywheel when it's already running. Okay, I'm going to take one last check, make sure that everything's out of the bottom. I cleaned the stator up again. I cleaned the flywheel up. I cleaned the inside of the housing up inside there. Everything looks pretty good. It was running good before. I'm assuming that it's going to be running even a little nicer now. And it certainly will be starting nicer since the drive gear's been replaced. Oh, that's what I got to do. I got to pull out my piece of wood that I was using the torque against. Now what I'll do is I'll throw the battery back in here. Let's see if she works. If she works and starts up, I'll get the power washer out and the degreaser, and I'll degrease and power wash the inside of this. And the outside's pretty dirty, but most of it will power wash up. And what doesn't? This ski's in 1994. You know what I mean?